So first of all, happy Thursday and welcome to revived Richmond Tableau user group. We are really excited that we are having this first meeting. Finally, we are able to pull it off. Hopefully, it will continue same way as it used to be done before pandemic. Some of you might know, some of you may not know. We used to be very active TUG back in the days. Thanks to VCU for their support, we used to be in the same room. So at least they are giving us the same location again. And we used to be very active monthly meeting, in-person meeting. That was the only concept back then. There was nothing called hybrid, but where we are now, hybrid is the way to go. So we are giving that more flexibility to the members and the new people joining. And typically, if the meeting is in during the work day, it's good to have that option available in case you can't travel all the way here just for an hour meeting. So welcome once again. And I must say that I'm glad to be a co-lead this time. I was part of the planning team, but I'm glad to be guided by Brian and Bill, who had been the co-leads and running this show for ages. And I'm not aging myself, but just letting out them either. But having said that, I would say, in addition to signing up, we are looking for new ideas. Like, I mean, what we know, what we used to do back in like 3 years ago, things have changed. Tableau has evolved. Salesforce is the name of the game and bringing a lot of things to Tableau, and Tableau, like I'm collaborating with Salesforce. So just keeping that in mind, we would love to have new ideas, new suggestions, how you want us to take things further. So feel free to reach out to Brian, myself, or Bill anytime, or send things on the TUG channel if there is a way to do that. And we are learning as you might learn. So be cognizant, like we might run into some technical glitches with the Tableau user group, the new site, new platform, what things happen. Recording may or may not work. We have tested it, but we can't guarantee like that's a guarantee like this will work for today. So having said that, let me introduce first Holly, who is from the VCU recruitment team, and for her to say a few things about the sponsorship and what VCU offers and brings to the community. And then I will pass on to, I will not necessarily get back in just to introduce Candice. She is our like keynote speaker or the main speaker, the only speaker, whatever you want to call it. So she is from Tableau, and she will introduce herself. Okay, enjoy the ride.
Should I stand over here so the Zoom?
Yes.
Yes.
The camera's over here.
Yeah.
Well, again, welcome. Just know how meaningful it is for us to have this opportunity to host you all, not only for our current students to get to see other, working professionals in the community in the building, but certainly to welcome back our alumni is always nice to have as well. So as mentioned, I'm Holly. I work here as the director of our graduate program recruitment, and just wanted to share some highlights that I hope are helpful to you or people you mentor or other employees about our graduate offerings here in the School of Business. We offer many flexible paths towards earning a variety of degrees. So we have a breadth of program offerings, including an MBA in 3 different formats, an evening format, an online cohort format, and an executive format, as well as 7 specialized masters, including a Master of Decision Analytics, which I feel like is very relevant for this group, and that we also offer in an evening and a weekend format. All of our programs are designed to be accessible to people that work full-time during the day. So a great way to earn credentials while you're still currently working, build your network and community, and certainly up level your skill set as well. What else about our graduate programs? The specialized masters are 30 credits, so they can be done as quickly as 1 year if you were to go full-time, about 2 years of part-time. And then for the Master of Decision Analytics, we also offer an accelerated weekend format. So again, just lots of flexible offerings. And I am happy to do a deeper dive if you feel like there is any interest there. We have a Master of Science in Information Systems, again, which I feel like would be relevant to this group. But we have some info sheets over there, and I definitely am happy to do a one-on-one appointment if you want to do a deeper dive or if your company is open to hosting a lunch and learn, would certainly be open to coming in and doing that talk as well. All of the courses that we offer are here in Sneed Hall. And again, flexibility in the way the courses are delivered as well. So typically it's a blend of on campus, online. We try to be flexible in every sense of the word. So again, I'm Holly. I hope you have a great time here today in the building. And please don't hesitate to grab some more information in my card if there's anything we can do to help share more information about our programs. Thank you. All right, have a good session.
Thanks, Holly. And honestly, that was a great sell because now I'm considering.
Oh, good. Well, I'm sure our alumni can speak more in depth to their experiences
That's fantastic.
as well.
I'm glad you came to talk with us today.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, folks, welcome to Richmond Hub. Welcome back, everybody. It's been far too long, as I understand it, right? So today's agenda, we're going to go into, I believe, about an hour. Okay, we've got my introduction here. We're going to talk a lot about this dashboard facelift process, which is basically, who here has gotten a dashboard before and things like that. What do we do next? Type of conversation. We're going to be talking about cosmetic best practices, the fastest ways to, to make changes to a dashboard that you inherited. We're going to go a little bit deeper, just a smidge deeper about performance best practices. We're going to go into a demo. You're going to inherit a dashboard. We'll take a look at what that looks like. And then we're going to talk about networking and lunch. We're going to meet each other and hang out, get some food in us. So who is in front of you? My name is Candice Belandres, and I am a customer success manager, legacy technical account manager. I've been with Tableau for about 5 years now. Originally, I was a desktop trainer, and I was a trainer for 11 years, actually, before I went into this role. I've been in a customer-facing, client-facing role for over 15 years. I'm originally from the Philippines, came to Northern Virginia, moved to Austin, Texas for like a hot second, 5 years, and then I came to Richmond, Virginia, which is like way cooler, by the way, and that's for sure. I've got a few certifications, desktop specialist, AI associate from Salesforce. I've been to 28 different countries. As a fun fact, I used to work for the State Department, so that was really cool. Get a job that pays for you to travel. Really cool stuff. So before we get started on me, let's talk about you guys for 1 second. Give me one moment here. My apologies. I would love to. This would have been cool, right? If it was like super fast that I had this taken. All right. So I'm going to have you folks go ahead and give me a little bit about yourselves. All right. Scan this QR code and let's get to know each other. Would love to know a little bit about you folks here. Scan that QR code, please. And let's see. In 1 or 2 words, what is your favorite thing about Richmond? What is your favorite thing about Richmond? Let's pop this over here. And I know there are some of you out there that's coming in virtually. Maybe not from Richmond. I'm looking at you, Stephen Putt, my wonderful colleague who's tuning in from Austin, Texas. But what is your favorite thing about Richmond? Richmond. It's my favorite thing about Richmond. I love that. The James River. It's probably fun. The James is really big right now. Food is fantastic here, I will tell you. If you are tuning in from not Richmond, and you are wondering why to come to Richmond, right here. This is why to come. It's a word cloud, people. Also, fun fact, this is a visualization. It's data, right, coming in. Food really kills it. It's big. I love that. It's fantastic. All right. Next up, here. I'm going to go spiders. That's right. All right. Next up. How long have you been working with Tableau? This is how I'm going to know who I'm speaking to today. We got a few folks less than a year, 15, 14%, kind of a big deal, over 10 years, 6 to 9 years, 3 to 5 years. A lot of folks, though, that are working with Tableau for less than a year. This is good. 17% of folks that are over 10 years, but still those folks I'm sure can attest to the fact that Tableau is very robust and changes every second and there's something new to learn. That's what these tugs are for. Excellent. And last but not least, how many of you have inherited a dashboard before? Yep. Not yet. Ooh, looks like a lot of us. And there's a lot of us here. There's 32% of us on this call who are just so good at anticipating that that's why you're here today. So, all right, team, thank you very much for playing along. That was nice. It's good to get to know you. And let's talk a little bit more about what's next. What are the things you can do very quickly when you inherit a dashboard? Most of these things are the things that we're going to talk about today. Many of you, especially those folks who have been working with Tableau for more than a year, probably already know this, okay? But here's the thing. All of the customers I see, varying in many different ranges of experience, will say, yeah, I know. But then I look at your dashboard, and you all bring me the same questions and the same issues. And it's always good to repeat. It's always good to remind. A lot of these cosmetic best practices are usually the ones that are the fastest yet most effective changes. And usually they're also the ones that you just kind of forget, you know? Colors make all the difference. Sometimes when I look at a dashboard, and maybe you feel the same way, it punches you in the face. And you're like, that is very bright. I don't know why you chose this color, but it was pretty and it was nice. Or you chose the color because it is your corporate, your company's color. That's fine too, that's good. But also there's just so much on it, right? Or maybe you're thinking, well, the natural, green means good, red means bad. But what's wrong with green and red, folks?
Colorblind.
Colorblind. There are some folks who cannot see it. Accessibility. Your users cannot read the data. You want to use that space wisely also. I have a few customers that bring me dashboards and they're like, well, my executive suite, my C-suite needs to see all the data at once. All of it. So then you pull up a dashboard and now you're smashed in the face with blocks and blocks of my favorite text tables. We'll get to that soon, but also like just a block of information. And that's so hard to process. You don't want to overwhelm your viewers and you want to make sure that we avoid the clutter. And last but not least, the biggest thing that everyone knows, but strangely always gets left out. Make that data clear. Clearly define what you're looking at. If you're asking your users to interact, give them direction, or else they're like, what am I supposed to do here? Do you want me to make a choice? Okay, so give them that direction. Also, team, I'm so sorry, I meant to say this earlier. If you are tuning in virtually, my apologies, we cannot hear you and you cannot come off of mute. However, I am taking a look at the chat. Bill is also moderating as well. So if you do have any questions at all at any point or things to say, then please do pop into the chat. For those folks here physically live with us, this is going to be a discussion. I'm not going to talk at you. I want you to respond back. So thank you very much about that. So performance best practices. All right, this might take a little bit more time, as I understand, and that's totally fine. The fast ones you can do very quickly when you inherit a dashboard also are those cosmetic best practices. But then you get a dashboard that's not the one you built, and now someone's in your face because it's taking 17 years to load. Raise your hand if you've gotten that dashboard. Yeah? Fun fact, I have two. And I don't even understand what the dashboard is. But yes, right? So, what do? Where do you go to next? Calculated fields. I'm gonna let that sink in for a minute. What? What's wrong with this calculated field? Okay.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot. It's kind of a mess. Let's get you guys a quick reminder about how dashboards, nothing says it's invalid. Nothing it says is valid. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The calculation is valid. Yes. That's nice. I love that. But as a reminder of how Tableau works with your data. Anytime you create, you drag a field to your view, anytime that you as a viewer, as a business user, open up your visualization or change a filter to use and things like that, and you have to take action, what happens with the data? Well, in the background, Tableau, you can't see me on the camera, Tableau is running to fetch your data. And what this calculation says is, hey, data, people, you, are you less than or equal to 1? And it's turning around all the data. And you're less than equal to 1, but you're also greater than 2. And then I'm going to label you 1 to 1.99. Okay, good. It's also, by the way, that last bit is a label as a text, right? So we all know what that appears to look like afterwards. And then it's doing this many times. So it's going back to the data and it's asking over and over again. And I'm getting my steps in. But that's what's happening. Your calculations are so complex. And in the background, the performance is just getting tired. It's taking a long time to come back. So we want to reduce the complexity of our calculations. There are best practices for this. If you need to do a group type of calculation, then let's do a case statement instead, okay? If you need to do a calculation, think about what calculations you're adding to your visualization and how heavy and performant they are. Level of details, oh my gosh, they are beautiful. They are so helpful, but they are heavy. And you're thinking, okay, Candice, well, where are we going to get all these tips on how to do what with calculations? At the very end of our presentation today, I'm going to give you a little resource guide, QR code. You will have to request access, my apologies, to my Google document, but I will grant all of you access when you request them. But there's a really great white paper out there that talks a lot about best practices with calculated fields. That's a big one. That's the biggest one that I get a lot of on all of my customer calls. Reduce the complexity of your calculations, folks. Another thing that we see often are text tables. Who here is in finance? Anyone? Who here has a lot of text tables in your dashboards? I usually ask finance first because that's their bread and butter. They're like, well, it looks like an Excel sheet, and that's where we're coming from. But that's the thing, folks. Tableau is a visualization software, okay? So do remember that every single time that you have a mark on your visualization, and what is a mark? Your mark is your data point. This is a mark, 378, your cell. Each cell on a text table is a mark, and each mark needs to render a visualization. So how big is your text table? Anyone? How many marks?
Too big.
Too big? I hear. Yeah, hundreds of marks. Hundreds of marks. And then you add it to that. My goodness. No wonder Tableau's tired. So when you avoid high mark counts, that's going to make your performance a little bit faster. Okay, there are different ways to visualize your data in a text table. Reducing your filters. Interactivity is lovely. It is. It's great. It provides your users agency. However, where those filters are applied is very, very important. Out there, floating in the Tableau help ether is a filter hierarchy. And that's going to help you understand where the filters are least performant or most performant. If at any point you can change your data at the data source side of the house, raise your hand if you have access to your data. If you have access to your data. The two of you here are very, very, very lucky. Not all users have access to your data. But if you do have access to your data, filter it out and do your calculated fields there. Okay? Because that happens at the data source level. Tableau doesn't have to go run and find it every single time, right? Those are called data source filters. It's what's going to be next, which is like a row level security. You have a bunch of folks who are saying, well, I only am part of the central region. I only care about central region data. Well, don't give them this filter. Use row level security. Only the central region folks can see central region data. And that happens way before the visualization comes up. Get it done there. Beautiful, done. It decreases the amount of data that Tableau has to go find it, because every single time you put a filter on, it stops and it requeries and goes to go find it. I am not running around again for you guys. That was way too hard for me. But if you do have to use a filter, remember that applied button, customize. It's under the drop down of customize, and then it's apply all. I'll show you guys when we get into dashboards. So, any questions so far? I feel like I've just been talking at you. So far, this all makes really good sense, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, duh. Which is the funniest part, because these are all of those reminders that you're like, of course. But then let's take a minute and let's review our dashboards that we've gotten. And how many of you have still gotten dashboards that have done all of these things I've talked about? Yeah. Right? So let's inherit a dashboard, people. Let's have some fun with it. All right. This is the dashboard that you got. Let's go into presentation mode really fast. What's wrong with this dashboard?
And color scheme, first of all.
What's that? I'm sorry?
Oh, the color scheme, first of all.
Color scheme is not great. Why is that?
Accessibility.
Accessibility. I like Christmas, but show me my dashboard. Because, fun fact, is anybody, like, not to call anybody out, and do tell me if only please let me know if you're comfortable. Is anybody here red, green colorblind? No, not here. And that's the funniest part, though, is because we usually create dashboards like for ourselves, you know, and we don't forget about those who can't really see what you see, right? My big blocker is that my LASIK is fading and I need to re-up. So part of that is like the clear, concise bits. But for folks who can't see red or green, do you know what this looks like to them? Does anybody know what that looks like? Because I can tell you. And there's also a program that you can download that shows you accessibility side. But this is just gray. And when red is in front of green or green is in front of red, it's just gray on gray. So how does that help anybody? Right?
Yeah.
What else don't you like about this dashboard?
There aren't any definitions for your metrics.
There's no definitions for your metrics. What am I looking at? Clear definitions. Clear guidance. What else do we have? What else don't you like? And I'm not hurt. I didn't make this dashboard. Like, give it to me. What do you hate?
I can see the legend, which is the bar, but it only gives like the 50%, 50%. It doesn't give you the breakup of the bands.
It doesn't get, yes, right? When you say breakup of the bands, do you mean like where
I mean,
where the ranges
yeah, I mean,
fall,
I
right?
mean, you have to calculate, make user calculate 6 split evenly. I don't know if they're split evenly.
Definition.
Yep.
Clear definitions. Okay. Anything else?
I don't know what those numbers are.
Yeah.
Is
Which
that all the numbers for each category, like the values on the axes? You know, is that 60 million, 40 million, 20 million? I have no idea. 20,000? No clue.
Can't see it this clearly. Yeah? That was what I was seeing, right? Good job. So, before I like fix this with you guys, do we need those borders?
Nah, that's a little
It's a lot of space
excessive.
taken up, a little excessive, unnecessary. Does placement matter with this legend?
Yes. It's just awkward for me personally.
Yeah, you don't need that much space.
You know
for
what
that,
visual
probably.
it associates with.
What visual does it associate with? That takes up way too much real estate. Dashboard real estate, kind of precious, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And I would
Scales are not
also-
consistent. Your y-axis on the bottom area charts aren't in sync. This is all it's coming in from the chat, by the way. Sorry, chat. Sorry, virtual team. I forgot that you were here for a second. Sorry. So, all right. Let's change it. I'm going to show you guys just a few tricks too by a dashboard that, apologies for you pros out there that already know this, but usually when I show people this little trick, it really helps a lot. Because usually when dashboards are given to you and you have, like, this isn't even a lot, right? Raise your hand if you've seen way more on a dashboard, right? Which goes back to that whole a little bit too much type of thing. So, and then now you're sitting here trying to like click into this legend or in the filter, or you need to get this legend and move it somewhere else, but you can't actually click the box to get this outline like here. Like I need to grab this handle, but for some reason, because it's just so condensed, you can't actually hit the box and you're like, not that view. I want this view. Before I tell people my trick, I want to know if you know my trick. What is the fastest and easiest way to say, I want this color legend that I chose, that I did click, but do you guys know the fastest way to grab that?
Go to the dashboard and and then select the sheet name over there.
So that's a good way for getting the sheet name. That is a good way. And you're also going towards you're getting close to where I'm going. But this is a legend.
Hierarchy in the layout.
Layout tab. Nailed it. Team, there is a layout tab here. I'm so used to calling everyone a team. Sorry. But yeah, we're one big team. All right, on the layout tab here, on the bottom is the item hierarchy. Has anyone ever noticed this? I know you have, for sure. So this item hierarchy here gives you a chance to drill down to see what is included in everything. And no, not there, here, there we go. If I'm trying to get this profit ratio legend, you can, like you talked about with the sheets, actually come here in the layout tab and say like, okay, well, what about this container? I need to find that container. I need to find this profit ratio legend. And now you can click it immediately and drag it about where it needs to go. And get that really quickly. This looks ugly.
I'd argue that that's the thing. That hierarchy is the thing that gets massively screwed up as well. when you go look at layout containers that you're trying to build, you can end up with a really bad ordering, which you can then modify by identifying that they're not well structured.
Say that again? I'm so sorry.
The hierarchy shows your layout containers. Now I'm a sit back.
Okay.
But just because, best practice is lay out your dashboard before you start dropping pretty pictures on it, right?
Right.
And so that helps you get that structure, whereas if you're just dropping things on, you'll realize later that your hierarchy is
It's a mess.
yes, it's all screwed
Well,
up.
that would have been my counter argument is what if your sheet that you're looking for is embedded within 8 different, and you got to keep clicking to
Then
figure out where
you
it
can
is.
get rid of half of them. Like you don't need all those
That's
containers,
true.
most
It's a good way to figure out how to clean up your dashboard. But I guess I thought the question was, how do you select this sheet as quick as possible? And for me, it would have been going to dashboard,
Sheet.
finding that
Yeah.
sheet name and selecting it.
Which it was. That was actually my question, the sheet
Okay.
itself. But there are sometimes, again, things like your filters, your legends. You don't find them in the sheets.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. If that's the case, yes, you would probably have to do something.
And that was my bad because I wasn't clear. But like when it comes to, and there's no one's wrong here, y'all. Like I'm here to facilitate a discussion in a Tableau user group. And that's the whole thing.
I totally get it.
Like, right? Like we're all here to swap tricks. And oftentimes when I show people the sheets bit or the item hierarchy, because maybe you've seen the hierarchy, but you're like, I don't know how to use that. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? Right? Because usually when you're set to create a dashboard or you're set to do your job, you don't really have time to explore, right? You're just told, I need you to do this and I need you to do this by Friday. And you're like, oh, okay. Can I take a minute to look around first? Like, no, it needs to be done by Friday. So I'm here to facilitate discussion. If you have a tip, bring it up. That's the whole point of tugs. Yes.
I might have missed what you showed about the sheets.
Yeah, sure. So say your name?
Ridge.
Ridge.
Yes.
What Ridge had mentioned in dashboard, on the dashboard tab here, you have these sheets that you have as options. I want to take note, folks, that when you have sheets, what you know is on your dashboard is signified by a blue check mark. So because you might have those dashboards that have like a million things on them, and you're not really sure, like, well, which one is on here, look for the blue check marks. Those are the ones immediately. Those are the ones that are on your dashboard. Performance is not. So if you're looking for a sheet, because you can't just grab monthly sales by segment, or let's see, there's a lot going on here that's really bad, right? Wow, I just looked up for 1 second and the faces in here, virtual team, were like this. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. That's bad, still bad, pretty bad, all bad. Okay, still bad. Okay, this is the most that I've got. So this specifically, trying to get these numbers. I like the fact that you have big numbers. That's good. But if you have a smashed, compressed dashboard, sometimes it's hard to click that sheet. So that's what we were talking about with Ridge. To grab a fast dashboard, if you're trying to click on the monthly sales by segment to move things around, then you can click on the dashboard tab.
Okay.
And then we can see sales by segment. Click that, and now you can see the little handle. And it's easier to grab and move it around. Sheets are here, but when it comes to filters, legends, and things like that, usually the harder ones to grab around because they are smaller. Then you can go to the layout tab as, tell me your name.
Tim.
As Tim, great name, by the way. That's my husband's name over here. As Tim had mentioned, on the layout tab. And you can see on the item hierarchy down here, the breakdown of what's included in your containers. And you can say, okay, well, this is a vertical container, horizontal container only that just holds the map, the area charts, and the filters and legend. Well, I just want just the legend. That's over here with the filters, profit ratio legend. That's the one right there, and I can grab it easily. As pointed out by Tim as well, and Ridge, there's no wrong way to use layout, right? There's no wrong way to use item hierarchy. If you come into a dashboard, you inherit a dashboard and it's a huge mess and you're like, I have no idea where to start and how this is laid out. Come here to the hierarchy and you can see what's within those containers and how it's, laid out. This is the part of the cosmetic first phase, right? Pull the things you don't need out. Fix it from here, the item hierarchy. Does that tip help anyone? And you can tell me no. Like, did anybody know about the item hierarchy? Some of us did, some of us didn't.
It's really useful for sheet swapping.
It's usually useful for sheet swapping.
I use it a lot when I have a dashboard that is sheet swapping.
Would you mind coming up here? Is that okay with you? Tim said no. You can also say no. Because again, I facilitate discussions and I can very much show you the sheet swap, but I want you to show me sheet swap. Can you show me your sheet swap trick? Because that's actually a really good piece. When you get inherited dashboard and you need to swap your sales map with something else.
Yeah, so like one thing I would do is like I would swap out this monthly by segment with the product category, so I don't have both of them at the same time. It would, it'd be one box of 3 instead of 6 boxes on there.
Yes.
But yeah, so like the way that you have to do it is, or the way I do it is you have to make a bunch of calculated fields and parameters. So like I would go here into, the segment by sales. Sheet. Oh yeah, sorry. Hit the little button to go to sheet. And then I'd come down here to parameters, create a new parameter.
Oh, that's okay. I feel really bad. I thought you were gonna do something else, but now I feel like you're gonna do a whole bunch, which I really appreciate. No, this is great. And tell me your name. Andrew. Great to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, well. You're like, I did not expect.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know.
No, totally fine. No, this is great. Would you like to keep going? Because the parameter side of the house, I did not know that's that's the direction you were going for. I thought you were just going to show the quick sheet swap.
Yes, like
because there's a sheet swap button.
Oh,
yeah.
That I didn't know. So I have
dynamic, right?
Yeah.
I come up here and then I do it by the control visibility using value, and then it's in there. So then I have like a parameter up here that I switch between, like if I'm doing loans or deposits or whatever.
As a reminder, okay, because this is a lot. We just threw down a bunch of stuff on folks who are less than a year in Tableau. No. That was my bad because I didn't facilitate. I haven't done this in a long time, y'all. Transparency. So thank you. Parameters. Big point here. Do you guys think we need, no, come on. or sit if you hate it, like it's fine. Monthly sales by segment, monthly sales by product category. Do you need both of them? It depends, right? But probably not, right? And we talked about how dashboard real estate is so important, right? Parameters are an excellent use of that. Does anyone know? I'm not gonna say this. All right. Parameters give you the ability, give your users the agency to choose, right? Also with a case statement, which is great most of the time. So calculations are terrible, right? But as Andrew pointed out, right? Yeah, that gives you the option to say, hey, which one do you want to see? Which is fantastic. And if you want to do it, you can do it. I just wanted to give the quick breakdown of what that was.
Can get my.
It does sound like a future topic for a great meeting.
Yeah.
Bill is what he wrote in the chat.
So like, I would do like P dot. What are these called?
Before you do this, and I'm so sorry. I wrote you into doing this, and you're like, I didn't even want to do this in the first place. When you do parameters, remember that when you title them under name, you want to give direction because parameter does give you it prompts you to make the choice and change. So Andrew, I adore you. I'm so sorry that I'm like putting you on the spot here. P sales category. How can we rename this to prompt direction for a user?
Like,
So you mentioned selector, something select.
Select. What would you like to say to that?
Um,
Oh, it doesn't even have to be P.
oh, I do that
Yeah.
just so I know it's a parameter. Because
Param-
sometimes I'll name my my calculated field the same thing.
Parameters will always be on the very bottom.
Yeah.
So that if that helps you, see before to distinguish between your calculated fields. If that helps.
But I'm with Andrew because we follow the naming conventions, like calculated field starts with a C underscore or C dot,
Okay.
P dot for parameter and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Because sometimes I use the parameter as a filter and sometimes I use the calculated field as a filter. So this way it's just easy for me to know where it's actually drawing from.
That's a good point. And you can always rename the parameter prompt. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Good to know. Again, facilitating tips, folks. So that's good to know. Not here to sell you, but does anybody here have data management? Do you know? Data management allows you to have a Tableau catalog, which does kind of help you with those descriptions and gives you like a field, like a data catalog, basically.
Yeah.
So if that's something of interest, like I looked that up. Everyone, okay, so go ahead. Sorry.
Sure. What did we call it? Dimension or
Select.
I'm not a creative person, so I need help
No,
when I come up
this
with
is
naming
great.
things.
And again, this is why we do this.
All right, so then I would come down here and I don't even know what both. So one was product.
Yeah, I threw you in here without knowing any of the data. As you're creating parameters, as just quick reminders for team who are new to parameters, the integer, fun fact, is the fastest performing if you're using parameters. So integer is good. As you're doing a list here, that's actually where I would probably say, Andrew, if you do want your parameters to go faster, your data type instead of a string to do integer, and your list under the value,
Yeah,
I would do like 1 display as product,
sure.
2 display as category, and then when you create your calculated field, it's a lot more performant that way, and your case statement.
I think it's just less intuitive because once you do this, the display is automatically 1. So I think people just go, oh, it's got to be 1, as opposed to relabel that.
Right.
So.
And these are good things to call out.
What was the other side of it called? I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but like, let's just say category because it's not a real dashboard, and it's good to kind of see.
Other one.
Other one, that's good too. Looks good.
And
I believe
Why
it's.
is it yelling at me?
What's that?
Why is it yelling at me?
No, it's not. I think it's just kind of down there.
Screen
Yeah.
is small.
Sorry.
Okay, there you go.
Very small screen. Yeah.
Yeah, so then I would go here and then I come up to, I create a calculated field and then I would do product flag and then I do P dot select product dimension equals equals what is this one called? What am I on?
Product versus category.
Yeah, so I would do that, and then so I have that, and then I come up and I do a calculated field for the other one as well. And it's other one flag, and I know I'm not keeping the naming conventions.
That's fine.
Same here, but then I would do P dot select dimension equal other one, and this is case sensitive, so I have to do that. Why is it yelling at me?
I would do here, I think, so this is where I would say the case statement would probably be best here. Would you mind if I took over on this
Go for
one,
it.
Andrew?
Whoop.
Oh, by the way, don't trip. Sorry, that was my bad. All right, so this is the part where we talk about those case statements. Case, in the case of utilizing this parameter that Andrew has kindly created for us, when did we do values, right? We did integers.
Oh, we did 1 and 2. Yeah, that's what it's doing.
When 1, then like product. When 2, then other thing.
Other one.
Yeah,
It wasn't a thing, it was a one.
All right. Other one. All right, now the calculation's valid. We're good to go. And I'm not gonna keep stealing your thunder. I'm gonna turn it back to you.
Yeah, okay. So then I would come up, I'd put this in here, and then I select product, and then I would go to the other
I think it was overview.
section, whatever it is.
Are you gonna try to remove one of those?
No, I was just trying to select this section by not doing any of the things that we talked about earlier. There we go.
Why not to?
Well, I'm trying to select this product category.
And that's the
But-
thing, right? This is, sorry, thank you, Andrew. I do appreciate you demonstrating for us on purpose how hard it is to select it.
I literally don't know what box this is in.
Because it's a
Here
cluster.
we go.
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I got it. There we go.
Steer you down.
Which one is this? Oh, it's not. Is it
Look at over there.
Product.
There we
Yeah.
go. That's one.
I don't know.
All right. So then I would come here and do this one is. Let's see.
Do you want to show the perimeter?
Well, so the way that I would normally do this is that on each one of my sheets, it's a true false flag. So I'm looking at the sheet, I select true. And then when I go back to the actual dashboard over here, and I select the control using visibility, it selects whether it's going to be, I choose either product or other one. And then it'll just show if I'm doing product or other one on here, depending on what the parameter is doing.
That's cool. I think the missing pieces.
I just found this on YouTube one time, so I've been using it ever since.
I love that. If you could, Andrew, I don't know, Tug team, I don't know how we are able to share, but Bill out there, if we can find, Andrew, if you can find that YouTube video, and if you guys are really interested in this trick, what you can do is you can email it to me. I'll give you my email address.
Yeah.
And then I will add it to the resource document. Would you guys like that?
Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right, Andrew. All right. And that's okay. I know I threw you into that, and I really appreciate you doing that because you did not expect that at all. And future tugs will not be hosted by me, so don't be afraid to come back. And no one should be throwing you into the fire like that. Again, I apologize. But that's the thing. Like, these are, again, the whole point is sharing these tips and tricks. The way that I would have done that would have been the case statement, putting that field into the view itself. So that way, like, instead of seeing category, I would have put that field in. I think that product flag, man, I completely forgot what we called it, which is, no, that's not your fault. Because again, this is why we have a good naming convention, right? I'm not familiar with your naming convention. Can you remind me again what you said that your naming conventions were? You did like field and
Only for parameters, I put P dot for my calculate fields. I don't do that, which I guess is a good idea to do.
No, that's okay. And
yeah,
also
it might
you didn't
just-
think about it because I put you on the spot. Like we didn't think about that so fast, and I'm trying to find you. That's okay. Basic point is I would have taken this, let's call it this field, and I would have dragged it and replaced it with the category field. And then from there, once you right click and select show parameter, you're able to use that action on your dashboard and put that and have them choose. So that's kind of where we were going with that. We're getting to that time, and I meant to show you and ask you and keep you going on all of these different dashboards as to why we hate them and why your eyes hurt and what you would do to change them. But I feel like we've gotten a pretty decent understanding. Now, you may have come here and said, but Candice, I knew all of that already. And that's totally okay. because this is a good reminder for the fact that these are the things that I see often, so frequently. And then when I point it out to my customer, they say, yeah, but yeah, no, okay, that's true. We could do that and change it. And it's a lot of things that we just simply forget because we're human and we're in a rush, right? And that's okay. But when you do inherit your dashboards and they come looking like this, you know, now better to make those quick cosmetic changes, right? And then on top of that, like make your labels. Like this is terrible, right? I can't see, you can't even see what that is. And I can't tell you enough how many customers I've seen that give me something like this because they're in a rush and they don't notice. So making sure that you have, again, those clear labels, those clear definitions. When you see something like sales by product by category, or let's go back to that overview as mentioned before, because that's where we were sticking on for a very long time, is, all right, what are we looking at here? Can we give more direction? In the product side of the house, are we, you know, year by all, monthly category? Let's take a look here. I'm trying to find a really good one that I messed all of these up on purpose, as you guys can tell. Here, this one was my favorite one. Because the colors are pretty. And, you know, that's just a bunch of names that I don't know what I'm looking at. How am I supposed to interact with this dashboard? What am I supposed to do with it? So again, giving that clear direction. Enter a new quota. Commission rate, base salary to estimate compensation. Let's talk about like what it is, what you're looking at. Use those subtitles, and let me just kind of bring to you what I'm saying here. Just because we've got a title doesn't mean you can make something smaller and give them a little bit more direction to say, okay, well, what am I looking at? Use that space wisely, give them direction. You can make them smaller titles, font, put them in the subtitles. Another fun trick that I learned from another colleague of mine when I was training was instead of doing a color legend, you can also just put a legend in a title and title it with the colors.
Yeah.
Right? Below 50%, not in red, right? Like blue, you know, or orange. 50 to 75% gray in that font. So that way it doesn't take up that much space.
Yeah. I have been using colored text as a legend many years. I don't use the regular legend at all.
Because you don't need it.
You don't need the real estate to be vested. Anyway, you need to tell in the title or somewhere as a text like what this is about. So you have those terms there, just color them.
Awesome. And you may not have thought about that before. You know, what's that?
So Candice, are you literally saying like for that specific graph that we're looking at there, you would just write out those ranges and then match the colors to the colors that you've used in the title? But I guess you would make it smaller or somehow differentiate it from the rest of the title there?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you wouldn't want it to be the same. I would assume I would not want it to be the same size and, you know, as the rest of the title.
Exactly. So okay, this is not the place for it, but for time's sake, what I've seen folks do, and let's say below 50%, 50, not 500, 50 to 75%, etc. So what I've seen folks do is this: color match, pick screen color there,
bold, 50 to 75%. That's the color we're looking for. More colors, pick screen color, there, good. Bold. So you don't really like need it, and let's just make it a little bigger so that you can actually see it, right?
Yeah.
So that way you don't need this legend.
Right.
You can just put it there as a title, as a subtitle.
Yeah.
Obviously putting it in a container. But yeah, these are just like small little tricks. And I'm really hoping that again, because Richmond Tug, we're back. Right? Bring these tips, bring these tricks, bring your questions. So that kind of brings me back to, because we are kind of running here on time, is this. This is what I want to do with Bill and team here. What's next? What do you want to hear? What do you want to talk about? Okay, so we can do this in the chat. Bill is going to take for those folks who are virtual. Submit your topics. What do you want to talk about? And then we'll talk about it here, if that's okay with you.
Yeah,
and I will write it down with my super fun, not great handwriting. And
Yours is
you
going to
can
be
take a
better than
photo.
mine anyway.
You can take a photo of it. Let's
Yeah.
probably, should I do it here? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you guys want to talk about next?
Working with containers, laying out with containers.
That's a terrible, goodness gracious. Okay, what else do we want?
Calculated fields and parameters.
Calculated fields and parameters. Specifically performant, right?
Yeah.
What else do we want?
I'd love to hear about newer features or visualization types.
Those are two separate topics, which I like. I'm going to say viz types first, but what do you mean by viz types?
I've seen some really cool, like visit the day, you know, really cool stuff. Maybe some hacks on those.
Do you mean like, so the reason why I asked that, because you had said before the like new features, and then you very quickly followed with viz types. Are you talking also like the Sankey charts? Because that's actually a new.
I had to do that manually through Tableau years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that there's like a new extension? You know that, right?
Extension.
Okay, but yeah, like if y'all like Sankey charts, there's a like 2023 dot 2024.2 yes, has a Sankey chart extension that you can now add from the Tableau Exchange. So just yeah, right? Okay, let's new features. What's new out there? So I will be honest with you folks. Oh, this poor. I haven't used these markers since I was a trainer like 5 years ago. So that's probably what's happening right now.
You need another marker or something?
Probably because these probably aren't working.
The best way to use initial SQL versus custom SQL, and the features that are contained within both of them.
Thank you.
Organic data.
Yeah, no. Okay, hold on, Andrew. So custom SQL versus traditional SQL, is that what you said?
Initial.
Initial SQL, sorry.
Yeah, good one.
Initial SQL versus custom SQL.
Yep.
So the new feature side of the house, by the way, a lot of that's going to have to do with AI. Dreamforce right now is happening this week, and if you guys haven't seen it already, like if you have not already, sign up for Salesforce Plus, and that's like Salesforce is like Netflix, but way more cool because you get to watch on-demand Dreamforce and Tableau conference stuff. So much cooler than Supernatural on demand. So AI is basically our kind of future side of the house. What I did want to talk to you about next too, when you do inherit a dashboard, if you guys haven't taken a look at it yet, especially for cloud users. Unfortunately, it's not an on-premises server offering, but like Tableau Pulse, getting folks more interested in metrics and things like that. That's really cool when you inherit a dashboard and you're like, off chance it's perfect, right? What do you do next to get folks more adopting your dashboard and wanting to know more? Pulse metrics are great, but just putting that out there. New features, initial SQL versus custom SQL. We've got best practices on how to use sets. That's good. Okay. Data-driven alerts on server. Anything else, folks?
Data blending versus joins.
Why are you still blending?
I'm not. I'm not. It doesn't work for me.
I'm gonna do blends versus joins, but also in parentheses, data modeling.
Yeah, modeling preparation.
The thing, I made that joke. I'm sorry. That was death to blending. I get in chat here. Blending is still important in some cases. I'll say that, but with the introduction of relationships in 2020, that's really been very, very helpful. I will say, and I think I'm allowed to say this, we are going to the future. The composable data sources were announced in Tableau conference this year, where you can then join published data sources. So if you haven't heard that, that's the cool new thing that's coming out, which is like going to be super helpful. There's new features that may also address blending. That's it, Bill. Yeah, Bill. So, okay. This is a good, fun start, right? Are you guys amped for future tugs to get to? I hope so,
yes.
Because...
Do you guys touch on cover prep at all? Do people use prep?
When you say you guys, like, I mean...
Tableau. Well,
Tableau,
I guess
yeah,
us.
I mean,
Because I go up to
Tableau,
people and they're like, oh, we don't use prep. I'm like, you're insane. You should use prep.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Tableau Prep Builder was 1000%, I think, a fantastic tool. It's underutilized. If you want, we can talk. I can put Tableau Prep as a.
Put that there. It's one of the product suite anyway.
Yeah, and just for those folks who are out there and listening, Tableau Prep Builder, it's a license. If you have a creator license, you have access to it, folks.
Yeah, typically it's grandfathered in creator.
Yeah, yeah. Would one big relationship data source or several custom smaller data sources be better to replace blending? Are there limits? Gavin, that's a great question. We can talk about that.
Those are the kind of questions I want to get to.
So take those questions, keep those questions, okay, for those tugs that are to come. I am not going to be here for all of the tugs, which you're probably like super relieved about, actually. But I will try, now that Richmond tug is here and I'm part of like Tim and I are now part of Richmond, which we just moved here. Very happy to continue our relationships with you all.
You're most welcome. Anytime.
Yeah, if you'll have me. I don't know if I like scared all of you away now at this point. But with that said, folks, I'm making sure we are on the time side of the house. Here's that toolkit I was telling you about. I'm going to give you my email address. It's just my first and last name. It's Candice.Belandres@salesforce.com. I'm going to give you my email address, and I'm going to ask you for cool resources like Andrew's one on YouTube. Sorry, I'm pointing rude. Sorry. But thank you, Andrew. I pointed you again. But if you have cool tips and resources like this to share, okay, send them to me, and I'll add them to this resource QR code thing that I created for you. It's very kind of not my best work, but it's on a Google Drive that I will give you access to. So I'm going to keep this up. I'm going to put this back up here, the QR code, but thank you very much, Data Fam, for being part of for keeping this such a strong, cool community. I am a little bit biased, probably working for Tableau and Salesforce, but also noting that this is not data. Fun fact, I don't come from a data background. I didn't know what Tableau was when I started 5 years ago, when I had to teach it. Okay, which might sound very scary to a lot of you, but if that's going to tell you something, in 5 years, when I've been fully immersed in it, in the foundations of training first, and then getting to see it in the wild with my customers and a lot of folks networking, it's something that is so robust and it's super cool. And for somebody who never came from the data world, for me to say that's really cool. I mean, yeah, if you haven't noticed already, I'm pretty nerdy, but like this is, it's big stuff. And there's a lot to learn. It's kind of a big elephant that you eat one bite at a time, and you take your time to do it, and you network with each other, and you communicate with each other, and things like these in our tugs. So continue to share your resources, talk to each other, because one thing that we have that a lot of folks don't, RBI, is a really cool community that really loves to share with each other and help each other. I'm sorry, RBI, I'm just joking. But okay, thank you, Data Fam. I'm gonna let you guys go to the networking and lunch. There's that QR code again.
Let me wrap up, please.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. First of all, let's give a big hand of applause for Candice for doing such a great start. You really rocked and got us started, kicked off the new tug, revived us. So you have set the bar high, so we'll try to match that. And you can come in as a member and check whether we are doing it. Okay, so you're welcome anytime.
Thank you.
Since you are in the community, just sign up in case you haven't. But
Thank you.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so thanks everyone for being here. Before we let you, the people in person here, get to their lunch, what we are catered for, and the people who are virtual, sorry, we cannot send it over internet, but feel free to take the time for yourself, whatever you need to do, take care of. It's a working day for many people, so we appreciate you joining. I'm going to just do a quick run through, if you don't mind. And I know you people in here have signed up and may have mentioned like their experience level and things like that. But for the people virtually, if you can put your name, put your experience level, and in case you are willing to help us plan future events or meetings, or in case you would like to present any of these great topics which people are at least mentioned about, like would like to know, and some are in the chat as well. So feel free to put that in the chat for virtual folks, and I will talk to people in person here to check more things about and as we network. Unfortunately, because of the technical constraints, we could not unmute the virtual folks, so we appreciate your patience with just having to type things in there and work with that. And as a result of that, I can't ask my co-leads, like who are the main leads, who used to be the leads in the earlier version of this tug. I am the new one here and manning the fort. So I appreciate that support as well. But I cannot ask them to chime in what they would like to say, Bill and Brian, if they are up there. But they can chime in case they are not chimed in the chat, at least so that people can see what they are, as a co-lead, what they might feel about we getting started today. So I won't keep you from what you need to do next. That might be more interesting than me talking. So I appreciate it. Thanks for coming and look forward to, we are trying to hit monthly cadence like before, and we will see, like, I mean, what the response rate is, whether we need to change anything around that or the format. Typically in the past, we had tried to, it's always a challenge in a tug or in a Tableau community anywhere to balance the newbies, intermediate and experience level to have some content which resonate with everyone. We typically have tried various things like having different tables, different stations, different breakout groups and things like that, and different topics covering there, or we just have different stations by topic, and then you just go whatever like resonates with you or would like to know. So we might do something similar, but we are open to ideas. And just to give you the last plug for Tableau community, I must say, like what Candice said, and you might have already attended Tableau conference, great, then you know what it is about. If you haven't, I will tell you based on my first Tableau conference in person this year, which I was fortunate to attend, that's the proof, like I got the t-shirt there, but it's phenomenal. Like even online community, even like in person, you talk about like Fleur-Lash twins or like Jeff Schaefer, Andy Cotgrave, and all those people. You just run into them in conference, and they are just simple human beings. And they are the good part of Tableau community is nobody holds the knowledge to themselves. They are willing to share. If you look, I mean, you might have come across like Andy Gribble and like the other ones. Like I can't even name.
Tableau tip.
Yeah, and so kind of thing. But I'll tell you, and this is a word which I came up with. And sorry, it's not a biased or anything related to gender, but I was really fanboying there while I was there.
I was
Okay.
fangirling too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so do check those things out. Opportunities, if your organization lets you go attend the conferences. The next one also is in San Diego. This year it was in San Diego. Based on San Diego, this was my second time in San Diego. I had gone to another conference back in 2019. San Diego is one of the best towns for conference.
Yeah.
Okay. Lots of things to do as well.
Yeah. If you guys want to chat about conference and what that's like, I'm very happy to chat with that with you as well.
Sure.
But if you guys want to, break out, network, and please come chat, go chat with each other, come chat with me and Kuhn. Like, love to chat with you guys. I've chat 17 times.
And last thing I would mention, the good part about community is like when you like take a whiz like from the Tableau Public or like whiz of the day or Makeover Monday or Workout Wednesday, there are so many places you can get things. If you use that as a source or baseline, there is a good practice in Tableau community to say inspired by and attribute that to that person. So that way you are still sharing the knowledge and who is the owner, giving the credit for that. So just keep that in mind as a best practice. Yep. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Go eat.
Yes.
Oh, and then network. Sorry.
Yeah.
Allison, you had a question about getting the deck without Google Docs. I will forward the PDF to Bill.
Yeah. That should work.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'll try to figure out a way how to get there in the user group platform.
Perfect. Thank you.
So I'm Wendy.
Hi, nice to meet you. I think I had met you
Probably
in the past.
pre-COVID.
Yeah, pre-COVID. Yeah.
Maybe we were like this.
Bill, should I?
I don't think I came in.
Should I just
with the
take
mask.
everything down right now?
In the COVID time, we had only.
Yeah, Candice, I think so. Go ahead and shut it down.
I can't hear you, Bill. I'm so sorry. Can you pop it in the chat?
But I had seen you before.
Well,
Welcome
Okay,
back.
cool. I'll take everything down now, yes?
yeah, it's
Okay.
great that you're.
All right. Thanks, Bill. He said, shut it down. Looks good. All right, team.
We
Thanks
were
for joining.
But he's not well. Yeah. I mean, I think it was.
Yeah.
But so he said, like yesterday he said, "You're not gonna make it." I said, okay.
Oh, we're still
I
on
knew back of
this
my
one.
mind, like, it might be that
Thanks,
year,
guys.
and I